Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to an episode of CrossFit Games, short format podcast where we dive into some optimism about this upcoming week. And of course, we should each be drinking a little bit of coffee. Topic conversation inspired by Dave Castro is all about this idea of having another thing. And that's what I took from our conversation. So Dave Castro, if you don't know who he is, Dave Castro is a former Navy SEAL. He's also the former director of the CrossFit Games, CEO of CrossFit, head of seminar staff. I mean, he has played so many different roles in the growth and success of CrossFit, including alongside Greg Glassman, creating the CrossFit Games at his family's ranch in Aromas, California, which I was fortunate enough to be a part of as well, and participating in. So Dave Castro, he has a really incredible history and background, not only from a business perspective, but also as a tier one operator, as a Navy SEAL. And we put on monthly webinars for Customs and Border Protection, as many of you know who listen to the podcast. And he became a webinar guest for yesterday. And one of the big topics and my takeaways was that the question I was brought up is, as a very driven individual, how do you balance that drive with actually being able to optimize the different areas in your life? And many people who listen to this podcast probably feel what I'm talking about, where you're just fired up, you're driven. You want to be the most successful person at work. You want to be the most successful person with your family. You want to be the most successful person in your fitness. You want to go find new things to go do. I mean, I know I'm always on the, tactical games, jiu-jitsu, you name it, right? And one of the things that he brought up that's been impactful for him, which I took away, was identifying a third thing that could allow you to really be present and focused so you could show up better on the other things in your life. And he used the example of shooting sports. So Dave got really interested in shooting sports several years ago. And now, he's a phenomenal marksman, but he's also been competing. And while he's competing, he has to be present and focused, right? He can't be distracted because he's trying to, put a round on a target, 1,000 yards away. So that's been his thing. And by identifying his thing, it's allowed him to be a better version at work. It's allowed him to be a better version at home, because he's been able to balance these different priorities because of this new thing. Now, shooting sports for him, he said he wished he had, gotten into it when he was also in the teams, because that would have benefited his job as well. But the idea is that by finding this thing, it's allowed him to optimize in those three different areas, right? When I think about it, it's like business, family, fitness. And for him, obviously he gets in his workouts, but this is another level where he's able to recharge, refocus, reprioritize when he's in this shooting sport and he's really engaged, and then be able to leave that environment and be less stressed, more present for his family, less stressed, more present, more optimization for at work. And similarly, the reason why I relate to this so much is that I feel the same way in jiu-jitsu, is that when I get in my workouts, that's just like a prerequisite for him and for I. Like, that's just something we do on a daily basis. But he found it in shooting sports, and I found it particularly in jiu-jitsu. A little bit in tactical games is not quite the same. I think I get it more from jiu-jitsu, where I'm able to really be present and focused because I don't want to get choked, just like he's trying to shoot this long shot. But by being in that environment, you could then really be just essentially honed in on your work, and then be very honed in on your family. And so I think each person can take from this and this conversation I had with Dave on, like, what type of things do you have, right? Where you don't become just too one-sided, where you're too wrapped up in work, where you're doing that all day, every day, and there's, as a byproduct, you're missing on other things. Or maybe you're not spending any time working, and that's also not a problem. That's also a problem. But identifying this third thing, something that you can go and do that'll make you better in the other areas of your life, I think is really important. For you, if that's your workout, hell yeah. But if a workout's just like a thing you do every single day as a prerequisite, you may need to seek out something else to add in that'll allow you to optimize in your other areas of life. And for me, that's been jiu-jitsu. So shout out to Dave Castro. He put on a really great talk that I thought was really inspiring. And I'm looking forward to the next webinar we do for CBP. But for this, in CrossFit Games, I hope you and your family are kicking ass. I hope 2024 is off to a great start. And let's see you again next week for another episode. Let's get it.